right off the start of the game, we gave up a touchdown on the first drive, and then got back in the game, made it 7-7, and felt really good about where we were playing and where we were at. And then, we had the hit on the screen pass that they took back for a touchdown, made it 10-7, and then, whatever it was, made it 17-7, and then we coming off that, we were in a position to drive the field there and go into half tied or ahead in that game, and then get the ball coming out of half. And we gave up the pick six, and then 3-and-outed with just a little bit of time left, and then blew a coverage adjustment and went into half way down when we should have been in the game. And I think that was a big deal, not going into half at least 10-7, 14-7, 10-10 to go into whatever it was, 24-7 at half was tough. And then coming out, we 3-and-outed right out of the half, and they scored again. And then we were playing catch up, and we got all the way down to the 7-yard line, and again couldn't score, and then stopped them. And then I wanted to show our offense that we had confidence, so we kept playing. We scored. We went for an onside kick. Just to try to get our offense some more plays, and gave them a short field, and they made a nice play, and then we went down and scored again. So the last two drives of the game, we went right down the field and scored. So, it was an unusual game, but it was a game that we should have been in that we were not.
AJ got his first career start. I guess how would you assess how he played?
Yeah, he had a couple. He had the ball where he got hit on the screen that we didn't protect him, and then probably the play he would really want back is right after we got the interception to have a chance to go in and go ahead. The very next play we mishandled the shotgun snap, and they got the ball back, and then they scored on that drive. So those two plays were tough for him, but he got beat up a little bit, but he fought all the way to the end. He ran the ball well again. He made some nice throws down the stretch. He made 2 scoring drives at the end. We had Brennan in there just a little bit, a couple series, and we tried to change the momentum, and we really didn't. Those drives that he was in there. So we went back to AJ, and AJ coming back out had his last 2 drives were touchdown drives. So hopefully, both those guys got some good reps, and we'll see how practice goes. But AJ, other than those 2 unfortunate plays, had a fairly good game, and has a lot of bright future ahead of him here.
Do you envision starting him against Colorado State, or is that another play it through the week?
I see him starting right now, but we'll see how practice goes. He felt a lot better today. He got what the true feel of what it's like to be a Division I quarterback, and how you have to get in the training rooms on Sundays and Mondays to get your body back for the next one. So we'll see how he comes out of that. He was good today. He was good yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. But he did in the times that he played, and barring those couple of mistakes, I thought he played really well.
Looking at Colorado State, obviously the passing game's more online this year than it was last year. I guess what sticks out about the challenges there will pose for you guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest deal is they're running the ball a lot better. They have they're running 3 good running backs, big guys that run hard. It's a little bit different than last week. They're bruising running backs. They keep good leg drive. We're really going to have to tackle well, and that opens up a little bit of their passing game. Obviously, Dallin Holker coming over there as a tight end has been a big deal for them. Torrey Horton's one of the better receivers in the country. And then the 2 freshman guys, or three young guys that they played last year, now have a lot of experience. So I think offensively, we faced this quarterback last year. He can make all the throws. Not a running threat like some of the guys we've seen, but with how fast he can get the ball out and what he does, they're a challenging offense to prepare for. The air raid and different versions of it always are, with how well they execute. And then defensively, they play really sound football, and they've got some really good defensive linemen. So it's going to be a great game, another afternoon game on the road, and chance for our guys to get better.
Last year's game was emotional, I think, for obvious reasons. Are those emotions kind of still there, or have things kind of faded a year removed?
No, I think we were talking about it today. I think I don't know, they probably have more former Nevada guys from that staff on their team than we have on this team now. There's not a lot of turnover, carryover on that, but I think that's a good staff. Obviously, they were here and did some good things, and that team's improving over there. They've been in some close games. They've won on a Hail Mary. They've won. They had to stop San Diego State last week, and then they had to control the ball at the end of the game, and they did that. They got the first down they needed to win that game, and that's a sign of a team that's getting confidence, and we're going to have to play really good football, I think, to get in that game, get ahead, and have a fast start.
Last year and the beginning of this year, you guys were not really penalized at all. And then in recent games, the penalties have kind of ticked up and it's really affected play and then obviously the result. Any reason for that or kind of why things have been a little bit more undisciplined here?
Yeah, I'm trying to put my finger on that. 2 weeks ago, we didn't have that many penalties, but the 3 of the last 4 games we have. And out of those, it was usually you would say, if you have 12 penalties in a game, you're not going to have much of a chance to win, but Utah State had 13, so that kind of goes out the window there. But I think offensively, having 8 or 9 of those penalties that we had, 9 of those 12 penalties were offensive penalties, and then you throw in a pick six and you throw in a fumbled snap for a takeaway. That puts the offense, I think, out of the 6 drives in the first half, there was a takeaway or a major penalty on 5 of them, and the only one that there wasn't, we had a touchdown. So that'll tell you right there the difference in penalties and takeaways as opposed to not having those kind of plays. So, and I think even on the touchdown drive we had in the first half, there were 2 minor penalties, 2 illegal procedures on that on that drive. So we certainly got to clean that up offensively. It's hard duty when you're going from 2nd and 6s to 2nd and 17s and 2nd and 15s and 3rd and 12s for a young quarterback. So they've got to do a much better job on that side. And then we had 1 illegal procedure on special teams. I thought our special teams played lights out against one of the better special teams units in the conference. And then defensively, we had just a couple. We had hands to the face and a pass interference that hurt us in the first drive. The pass interference hurt us, and then after that, I thought defensively we played pretty clean as well. But obviously, offensively with the takeaways and the penalties, that's hard duty for an offense that's struggling to get drives going anyway.
There's a lot of guys that switch up positions going from high school to college football. Doesn't make it any less easy doing it. With Cam Seidler, what have you seen going from quarterback in high school to a tight end for you guys now these past 2 years? What has he been doing in your eyes to do what he's been doing?
Yeah, we know when we got here and he was available and watching him on film and all the things he did at North Valley's high school, we thought he'd be a really good linebacker, strong safety. And then when we got in here over the summer, his first freshman summer, and he started getting out there just playing catch and stuff, had really good ball skills for a guy that had been a quarterback, and we needed tight ends at that time, and we thought we could grow him into an H-back moving into a tight end. And last year he played just enough that we could redshirt him, and then he came back this year and was banged up in fall camp. And since he's come back healthy, those 2 freshman tight ends, both because of Kalecki's injury, they've gotten better every week they've been out there. But Cam's certainly a good receiver. It was great to see him. That was a well-called play by our offensive coaches, well-designed in that situation. And A.J. put it on his back shoulder. It was moving to A.J.'s left, which is not an easy throw, and he put it right on Cam. Cam caught it, and it was exciting to see him get in the end zone. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in his future.
When you try to slow down a CSU passing attack like they have, is it as simple as just trying to get pressure on the quarterback? Is it way more complex than that?
Yeah, you got to first, that's the air raid. You got to stop the run. There's not. They can throw the ball deep, but it's all about getting the football into hands of people that can do something with the football. So a big deal when I was with Coach Leach and when I faced these teams is you have to limit the yards after catch. So they're going to catch their balls. They're good at what they do. They distribute it to a lot of really good receivers, but you have to get them on the ground where they catch it. You can't let 7-yard catches turn into 20-yard catches, and that's what they want to do. And if they can run the ball, which they're doing much better this year, that opens up some of the deep shots. Dallin Holker and the tight ends. I think there's a tight end that was actually on this team, I never got to meet. But those tight ends that are there give them a different version of the run game, kind of in the USC, Oklahoma, some of the offshoot air raids that have tight ends involved in their schemes. So they present a lot of different deals, but it's certainly stopping the run at yards after catch are big deals, and knocking them off schedule, getting them in negative plays is something that we did last year. And they moved the ball, but they never got in the end zone against our defense. So, that's what you have to do in this kind of football game.
Do you feel like you guys are more prepared to stop that offense just because of how often you practice against it in Washington State? And like you said, you only gave up 3, offensive points in last year's game.
Yeah, I think familiarity. I mean, whether we execute or not, that's what you're trying to get, great execution from your team. But we've seen this a lot. I mean, so guys on my staff and myself, I saw it for, almost 7 years with Coach Leach. And I think that would be the number one air raid guy. But then we've also seen Oklahoma in our history there, and a lot of teams run versions. We always watch teams that have those air raid principles to see how close they are to the Coach Leach teaching in the routes and stuff. And these guys are certainly very close. I know that Matt and Jay came up to Washington State quite a bit when I was on staff up there and met with Coach Leach, and they were around a lot, getting the ins and outs of that offense. But they've also put a lot of their own movements into it now too, with the tight ends and the stuff that they do. Last year they went 12 personnel against us. They went 2 back against us last year. So they've also got some different wrinkles there that we have to prepare for.
You've been complimentary at Torrey Horton in the past, and obviously you said he's one of the nation's best. I guess what makes him one of the nation's best wide receivers? Yeah,
he's got speed. He's tough, man. He's a tough guy. He's a punt returner, and he's probably got some of the better ball skills of receivers around. He's a competitor. They have a lot of guys that are really hard. Their running backs are real competitors, some of the guys. But I think just Torrey, what he can do with the ball in his hands, how he can get open, what he does as a punt returner. I just think there's a lot. The players on our team had a lot of respect for him, and we quiz our own guys and Jarek Robinsons and guys that have come from there and asked them about the different personnel that they know about, and every one of them has got high praise for what Torrey can do and what he did here, how he was as a teammate and everything. So I think there's not a more complete guy in this conference that can get the ball in his hands and do things with it. Probably as a special teams and an offensive guy. He can go inside, he can go outside. They put him as an inside receiver. They throw him takeoffs, they throw him under routes. I think he threw a pass last week. He's done that multiple times. So you certainly have to know where he is. I think the biggest we had a good plan for him, I thought, last year, and then in the last drive they got him the ball and started that last drive to get down for the field goal. I think he had a couple plays in that drive. So when they're in those clutch situations, he's a guy they look to, and he makes those plays.
One of your wide receivers, Delvon Campbell, it seems like he's kind of perked up of late. It seems like you guys hit him on a deep shot every game now. Why has he improved so much as the season's gone along, and what does he mean to your guys' offense?
I think he gets more comfortable with our quarterbacks all the time, but certainly when you just look at him, the size of him, there's not many receivers in the country that are as big and fast as he is once he gets going. And if the ball is in the air around him, it's hard for DBs to try to figure out how to go through him, over him. You're not going to go as high as he's going to go. You're not going to run with him. So we get a lot of pass interference because they have to drag him down. They have to hold him down. And our biggest thing is it's hard for our quarterbacks to overthrow him. We tell our guys, try to overthrow him, because he is so big and fast that he ends up having to come back for a lot of those throws, which DBs have a hard time with, and everything ends up to being a back shoulder just because he's so fast. So I think as he gets more comfortable, has he decided to take a leadership role, as he decided to block, as he decided to do all the things that he can do in this offense, it's opened up his receiving game. And as he sees that stuff, I think he just gets better and better and a better leader. And now the offense is fairly confident that if they throw it up, one of two things is going to happen. We're going to catch it, or we're going to get a first down on a pass interference penalty, because he's a hard guy to defend, and he's going to get that football in the air.
Obviously, a lot of Wolfpack football fans know of Jay Norvell from his time here. I guess how would you describe your relationship with him in Mountain West meetings or media days or things of that nature?
Yeah, he was around some. I've known him for a while. I don't know him that well at the conference meetings. We hang out with, there's great camaraderie in this conference with all the coaches that were in the room when we're around. But I think, obviously, the guys that I knew and had coached with, you spend a little bit more time with those guys because your families know each other and all that. But I think what he did here in his career and building this out of his first head coaching job and the fans are what they are and how he left, and that was before my time here. But he knows how to build a team. He knows what he's doing. We've got some guys on our staff that he recruited and played for him, and we love those guys, and I'm glad they're on our staff. And I really think he's one of the good offensive minds, and Matt Mumme and his lineage, and with Coach Leach and everything, I think they know what they're doing on offense. And obviously their special teams coach was here, and their defensive coaches do a really good job. That the one couple games I've watched of them, they're very active. So they know what they're doing, and I think Coach Norvell is one of the better coaches in this conference, if not in the country.
Obviously, a couple of coaches in the conference no longer with the conference. Andy Avalos at Boise State, and then Brady Hoke today with San Diego State. I guess, what are your thoughts on those changes? And obviously, it's part of the job.
This is it's part of college sports. As are just like last year with Marcus, who was building a heck of a program at UNLV, and I think the new staff is reaping some of the benefits of that recruiting effort. Andy Avalos is one of the best coaches I've ever worked with, and like a brother to me. That was a hard one. I don't know the background of those situations. Obviously, Coach Hoke's, we were similar in age and have been around coaching and seen each other a lot, so he was a good friend of mine. So, but there's also there's a lot of ex-coaches in this town that still, Mark Fox, Jeff Horton, Jim House there's coaches all over the West that guys have worked with, and it's part of the profession, and the money that gets thrown around and the things that, but I know there's the coach in this conference, and this conference is built on great competition. You see it week in and week out. You see Hawaii beating Air Force. You see games like this all over. The anybody can beat anybody, and this time of year is always crazy for that kind of stuff, and usually good coaches land on their feet. Guys good? All right. You guys got a couple more.